A very good afternoon to you from the sports desk. Let's quickly catch you up. Stormers are out to end the United Rugby Championship season on a high. The Cape side host Munster as they target their second successive title. A strong 50,000 partisan crowd is expected to cheer for the home side, while the visitors have 5,000 supporters who travelled from Ireland. So that's a total of 55,000 people in that stadium. For the latest in the build-up to this titanic battle, we're joined live from the mother city by sports reporter Justin Ford, as well as eNCA sports editor Vata Ngobeni. Justin, good afternoon to you. Very quickly, I think this is possibly for the Stormers' biggest match for them in history. I've just mentioned the amount of people that are expected at the stadium today being 55,000. Have you seen some of the fans trickling through as yet, and have you had a chance to speak to them, and what are they saying?
Yeah, good afternoon, Nicole. The sun is out here at the DHL Stadium in Cape Town. However, a slight chill in the air, and hence why I've decided to wear my jacket. But nonetheless, the action is hoping to heat up a bit later on. But in terms of the fans, 55,000 capacity crowd here at the stadium is expected. And I think that's a mark of the work that the Stormers have potentially done in recent seasons. The fact that they've continuously been able to break records. The quarterfinal was a record. In the semi-final, they were able to beat the record, and now we have 55,000, a sold-out stadium expected for the final between the Stormers and Munster. And I think that in itself is just testament to the hard work that the Stormers, coached by John Dobson, and his team have been able to do to showcase the fact that the rugby that they are playing is something that excites the fans of Cape Town and South Africa, if we can put it that way. Ultimately, this continental or intercontinental competition is something that they're also representing South Africa, and that's exactly what they're doing. So with that being said, I'll bring in Vata, and just in terms of the work that the Stormers have been able to do along with John Dobson. Vata, Dobbo, as he's affectionately known within rugby circles, really has been able to transform this team. Brought in a few players, the likes of Mani Lebok, bringing Leolan Zas back to Cape Town, and creating a culture and an ethic that really speaks to playing for the people of Cape Town, making Cape Town, wanting to make Cape Town smile again. He definitely has achieved that, surely.
No, without a shadow of a doubt. It reminds me back to the days of the Bulls glory days. And again, that eventually became the spine of the Springboks, and they won the World Cup via that. And I think at the moment, Dobbo is doing that. He's now created an environment here where players are having fun, but they're also succeeding on the rugby field. They've got a trophy to back it up. But more than anything, it happens in the World Cup here. So I think Rassie would look at this and say to himself, you've got some players here that can win me a World Cup back to back again. So it's very, very important that you look after the person before you look after the player. And the player will thrive once the person is looked after.
And you talk about Rassie, and I think that in itself talks about him early on this week, and I'm going to ask our camera Mario Pedro just to kind of show us some fans and the beautiful backdrop that we do have. But Rassie mentioned this week that he coached the Stormers in his early days as a coach, and he just couldn't understand how to get the players away from the beauty that is Cape Town, the beaches, the clubs, and the scenes and so forth, whereas Dobbo has now been able to transform that and been able to say, listen guys, we have a community that supports us, that want to come out to us. We've got a new home in the DHL Stadium. We've moved away from Newlands. Great history there, but however, this is our new home. And in a short space of time, they've been able to create their own history and memories here at the stadium.
Justin, there's one thing I keep on saying to you is that the ghost of Newlands is gone. And it's gone because this team is successful here. But more than anything, it's now connected to the people of Cape Town. And yes, they find themselves in a very affluent part of Cape Town, but the wonderful thing is that they find themselves accessible to all communities, and that is a good thing. So again, it's important that the team reaches out to the community, and once you reach out to the community will support you. Everyone loves the stadium now. It's probably one of the most picturesque stadiums in the world. You've got the Atlantic seaboard, and behind you you've got one of the 7 wonders of the world. So again, you're seeing the fans all out here. You're seeing everyone in a jovial mood. I think whether win or lose, rugby is a winner today, and Cape Town is a winner today. And I hope that keeps on happening.
I like that a lot. And they face a team in Munster that like you mentioned before, struggling to want to be, at the upper echelons of Irish rugby. It's a World Cup year, Ireland being number one in the world, wanting to prove as to why they are number one in the world. By winning the URC, we spoke to the Springbok coach earlier this week, Jacques Nienaber, and he feels like this maybe won't be a momentum booster in the sense that winning the URC like potentially Super Rugby was in the past, because the landscape of rugby in this world has changed. It's no longer the New Zealands, the Australians and the South Africans of the world that are up there. It's France, Ireland, Scotland will not be scoffed at or looked at lightly. With that being said, Munster, a strong side, strong Irish presence. What will they bring to the Cape Town Stadium today?
Listen, I think they'll bring everything that any Irish team will bring, but I think we'll be foolish not to think that this game will have a bearing on what's going to happen in the World Cup. I think it is massive what the result of this game psychologically to the players. A lot of these Irish players for Munster, or Munster players, play for Ireland. A lot of the Stormers players play for the Springboks. And I think psychologically what happens here, everyone will be saying to themselves, come October, the Springboks have got to make sure that psychologically they're above the Irish, who are number one in the world.
Yeah.
So it's hugely important for South African rugby, hugely important for Stormers rugby, but more than anything, I think it's hugely important for Springbok rugby that the Stormers win today, because they're going to walk in with a massive mental edge. And in fact, Justin, while I'm talking about mental edges, and we have our own edge. While we're here for sport, I want to bring in one of our own, Marcel Gordon.
We've flown in all the way from Johannesburg.
All the way from Johannesburg. And we keep on talking about fans. But South Africa is here, eNCA is here. Marcel, welcome.
I should say welcome to you, Vata. This is my old hometown, but you have made it your own over the years. He's taken over, hasn't he, Justin?
And Marcel, just talk about the jovial atmosphere that we find here.
Absolutely. I was speaking to somebody from the URC organization just a few minutes ago, and I said, the Stormers has turned Cape Town into one of the few cities still left in South Africa when there's a big rugby game on, and not even a final. Any Stormers rugby game on right now, you feel it in all the parts of the city. And I heard you talk about Atlantic Seaboard this, Shishi this, Shishi that, yes. But the Stormers has really become a rugby team and a brand for the people. And that's got a lot to do with old Dobbo, the Stormers coach, his relationship with the team, and his acknowledgement of the communities that each of those players come from. And it included all of them as people in terms of their own personal stories and the stories of their communities and who they represent and what each of them had to get through to get to the highest level of their sport. And people have acknowledged that, and they've taken this team to their hearts. And now you get to a final, and it's like they've already won already, So that's been a great success for this team, and I think if the result goes their way, it would also be, as I'm sure you agree, a great success for the Springbok team heading into the World Cup, because we also know that Ireland is in the same sort of pool as them, and we can't say it means nothing if it's just a win in a competition. Every win means something as we lead up to the World Cup in France.
Thank you very much, Marcel. Nicole, you're hearing it from one of our own. She's here, and again, sport has got the power to unite a nation. Sport has the power to change an entire country. And we sit here, news, sport, and we're hoping that this game goes a long way in changing how South Africa feels after the interest rates hikes, the unemployment rates, and everything else. Can we feel good about something? Justin?
Here we go, absolutely, and I think that just exemplifies what this team means, and Marcel, put it precisely exactly that. The way that Dobbo has been able to transform this team and change the opinions and involve the communities of Cape Town, and I think that is a big plus, Nicole. And hopefully, at 8:30 this evening, they'll be able to do exactly that with a win here at the DHL Stadium.
All right, thank you so much for that. That is eNCA's sports editor, Vata Ngobeni, as well as reporter Justin Ford. Marcel, our news colleague, who's an absolute lover of sport, is actually on vacation in Cape Town. So it's good to see that they have caught her. That match with Stormers and Munster kicking off at 6:30.